Okay, today we are going to see topic 5, algorithm design for repetition control structure. Okay, this is the outline for this topic. 3 parts. Okay, first we are going to see analysis of problems requiring repetition control structure. Second one, we are going to see 3 requirements of a repetition control structure, including initialization, condition and updating. And then the third one, we are going to develop the algorithm for repetition control structure, consists of pseudocode and flowchart. Okay, actually repetition, or also known as repetition, happen in our daily life. For example, when you are cooking, you have to keep stirring the food, or when you are making your drink, you have to stir your drink. Okay, when you put sugar, you have to keep stirring the sugar until it is fully dissolved. Okay, so meaning that you keep doing the same action, okay, until certain condition is met. Okay, you kacau air sampai gula tu larut dan air tu boleh diminum. Okay, jadi kita akan teruskan perbuatan mengacau air tu kan, kita kacau dengan sudu sampailah satu condition is met. Okay, kalau kita buat air maknanya sampai gula tu larut. So meaning that we keep repeating, keep doing the same task until certain condition is met. Okay, so same thing if we are considering a person who is building a house. Okay, okay, as you can see in the figure, he's using his saw to cut the wood, right? Okay, so maksudnya dia akan buat kerja tu, tarik ke depan dan ke belakang gergaji tu sampailah kayu tu putus kan. Jadi he's keep doing the same action, moving forward and backward until the wood can be cut into a few pieces. Okay, sampai putus lah. Okay, jadi that is some examples of repetition in our daily life. We keep doing the same action until certain condition is met. So the same thing can be applied in our coding. Okay, so analysis of problems requiring repetition control structure. Okay, what is actually repetition? Okay, repetition, okay, sorry, typo. Okay, repetition, or sometimes we call it also as iteration. Okay, iteration or repetition is basically repetition of one or more steps in algorithm. If we try to see it from the angle of a coding, okay, repetition means, or iteration means, we are going to repeat one or more instruction or steps in our algorithm. Okay, so execute the same section of program code over and over again as long as loop condition of some sort is met with each iteration. Maksudnya kita akan sentiasa buat satu instruction tu sampailah memenuhi satu kriteria. Okay, macam tadilah saya bagi contoh, we keep stirring our drink until the sugar is fully dissolved. Okay, barulah boleh minum air tu kan. Okay, selagi mana gula tu tak larut sepenuhnya, selagi tu kita akan keep stirring, mengacau air tu kan. Okay, bila kita buat air lah, tu contoh yang paling mudah. So it is helpful in performing the same task repeatedly. For example, if you are producing coding to print hello for 5 times, okay, if we use sequential, we can write cout hello 5 times, okay, but we can do it in a more efficient way by using a repetition control structure. Okay, so repetition also can be called looping. Okay, repetition, iteration, or looping. These 3 terms means refers to the same thing. So the condition is accordingly called the loop condition or loop control variable. So there must be certain condition to be considered. Okay, for us to repeat the instruction. Kita mesti ada satu condition, satu keadaan yang mana memberi kita guideline sama ada kita perlu repeat lagi ataupun tidak perlu repeat sesuatu tu. Okay, macam tadilah kalau buat air, buat apa nak repeat kalau gula tu dah larut, so kita akan stop. Okay, so mesti ada satu condition. Kalau kita masak pun, kalau kita masak, kita akan membalikkan makanan tu kan. Balik-balik makanan tu nak bagi dia masak sekata. Okay, jadi kalau masakan tu dah masak, so enough, we stop our cooking process. So tak perlulah nak balik-balik lagi, boleh tutup api, boleh makan. Okay, so kita mesti ada loop condition ataupun loop control variable. If you are talking about coding, we have to consider loop condition or loop control variable. Okay, I usually use term LCV. Okay, I simplify it as LCV, loop control variable. Okay, so for repetition, we have to consider loop condition or loop control variable. Okay, for example, this is one scenario requiring a repetition. Okay, let's say you are given a problem. Okay, keep prompting the user to input a non-negative integer and print that integer. We are going to ask a series of number which is non-negative integer, positive integer. Okay, from the user we are going to get a non-negative integer from the user, and we are going to print that integer for the users. Okay, so as we only interested to prompt the user to input non-negative integer, so if let's say the user input negative integer, we are going to halt the loop. Okay, we are going to stop the repetition process, halt the loop when the input is negative. So as the user enter when the user enter negative number, we have to stop the looping process. So then print the maximum integer input. So this is the analysis. So remember, we have talked about PDLC previously. Okay, for PDLC, Program Development Life Cycle, we have the first phase in Program Development Life Cycle is analysis. So for the analysis, you have to know the input, the process, and expected output. Every time you are given any problem, please first do the analysis. Okay, sometimes the student cannot identify the input, process, and output. Okay, and when he or she doesn't know how to what are the input, what are the output, and then the process, of course you cannot proceed with the coding. Okay, so pseudocode or flowchart can be done later after the analysis. So first you have to do the analysis on any given problem to you. Okay, so first identify the input. So you read again and again the problem. Okay, so keep prompting the user to input. Usually the question will have the keyword input. Okay, input a non-negative integer. Okay, so we can summarize it as positive integer or positive numbers. Okay, then the output is to print that integer. Okay, so the process, what are the process? Input positive integers repeatedly. This has to be done repeatedly. Okay, then display the integers and terminate loop by entering negative numbers. Okay, then maximum. So you have to print the maximum integer input. Okay, so that is the expected output. Okay, other examples of repetition in your real-world application. Program to accumulate multiple calculation in business report. Okay, in a business organization, they are going to do sometimes the same calculation on different business report. Okay, so they can apply the concept of repetition. Okay, second one, application to ensure that user data entries are valid by repeatedly prompting the user. For example, we can consider when we are going to log in into our email, right? We give input to the system, username and password. So as long as the password is wrong, so the system will keep asking you to give the correct password, right? And sometimes you can see also there is a certain limitation for a system, maybe 3 times only, and then you have to stop trying. Okay, maybe sistem tu akan kena hold dulu sebentar kan kalau salah password. Okay, so that is another example of repetition in our real world application. And then program that outputs every number from 1 through 20 along with its value, double and triple. Okay, for example, we are going to print double and triple of all numbers from 1 to 20. Okay, we are going to repeat calculating the double and triple values for 1, and then for second, for number 2, for number 3, until 20. We are going to calculate double and triple values. And then last one in this slide, a program to calculate fees which increase by 4% each year. Display the fees each year for the next 10 years. Okay, we are going to maybe do some prediction or some calculation for next 10 years of fee, for example, okay, which increase 4% each year. So we did this. We are going to do the same calculation. Fees multiplied by 5% and then plus with the original fee. So as you can see, the calculation is, the formula is the same, but you are applying it to different values for each year. So this is also another example of repetition. Okay, can you think of any other situations where looping can be applied? Okay, maybe you can try sit down and think some other situations that you can apply repetition concept. Okay, next, another important thing that you have to know is why repetition or iteration is important. Okay, in coding or programming, there are some reasons why repetition should be considered. Okay, the first one is computer able to perform complicated tasks, which is the ability to repeat them. Okay, for example, let's say I want to key in the mark of all my students this semester. Let's say I have 100 students. So if I design a program to get to store 100 marks, the marks for 100 students. Okay, if I'm using sequential control structure, okay, I have to write something like C out, please enter, mark. Okay, so C in, mark, and then I have to repeat the same, these two instructions, C out and C in. C out, enter the mark, C in, mark 1, and then again enter the mark for second student, C in, mark again. So for these two instructions, C out and C in, I have to repeat for 100 times if I have to insert 100 the mark for 100 student. Okay, maknanya saya kena buat C out dengan C in tu untuk 100 kali lah, 100 orang tu. Okay, so if we use repetition, we don't have to write 100 lines. Okay, so kalau C out dengan C in tu dah 2. So kalau untuk, you can imagine if I'm writing the coding to get 100 the marks for 100 students, so I have to write 200 lines of coding just to insert the marks for 100 students, because I need C out and also C in. Okay, so 200 lines, 200 line untuk saya perlu tulis dekat coding saya untuk mendapatkan get input of each mark and then C in tu kan, to store inside the variable in my coding or program. Okay, so repetition can make this easy. Okay, easier. Okay, second one, programmer can write one set of instructions that operate on multiple separate sets of data. Okay, so this one you can consider the previous example. Let's say we are going to calculate the fee for the next 10 years. So we are going to apply the same formula but on different values. Of course, setiap tahun kita nak tengok yuran tu macam mana bertambah kan. Katalah dia naik macam tadi, contoh 4% setiap tahun. Jadi kita akan kira kenaikan 4% setiap tahun tu berdasarkan formula yang sama, tetapi of course nilai fee tu dia akan keep updating lah untuk dalam pengiraan tu. Jadi for this type of situation or scenario, repetition is very helpful. Okay, third one, can structure programming statements to be repeated as long as specific conditions are met. Okay, let's say I'm going to get 100 mark to be inserted. Okay, so I can give one instruction and then see out and see in and then repeat for 100 times. Okay, then after I get 100 marks inserted by the user, I can stop the prompt in instruction. Okay, and then repetition allows the programmer to efficiently use variables. Okay, other than that, okay, we can still consider the same example. Katalah saya nak masukkan 100 markah pelajar tadi. Okay, katalah kalau saya tidak menggunakan repetition, konsep repetition, saya kena buat cout, enter, mark. And then I have to write second line, in, mark 1. And then for the second mark, enter the mark, I have to write in, mark 2. Maknanya saya kena create 100 variable. I have to create 100 different variables with different names to store 100 marks. Okay, maksudnya saya kena buat mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, mark 4, sampailah mark 100 untuk saya menyimpan 100 markah tadi. Okay, then kalau kita consider repeat itu, kalau saya tak menggunakan repetition lah, if I use sequential control structure kan, saya kena create 100 variable yang berbeza nama untuk menyimpan 100 markah tadi yang saya nak masukkan, markah pelajar saya tadi. But if I use repetition, I can just declare mark. Okay, and then I can store maybe mark and another variable, 2 variables only, sum or what, to store the or can sometimes maybe later we are going to learn about array also. Okay, so this can be done by using repetition. Okay, repetition repetition allow the programmer to efficiently use variables. Maksudnya tak perlulah create sampai 100 different variables untuk menyimpan mark tadi. Okay, contohnya untuk cari average ke, okay, average of mark for 100 student, we don't have to declare sampai 100 different variables. Okay, so these are for reasons why repetition or iteration is important. Okay, efficiently use variables. Okay, statements to be repeatedly as long as specific conditions are met, and then can apply one set of instructions on multiple or separate sets of data, and also to perform complicated tasks. Okay, now we are going to see types of repetition structures. We have 2 category here. Okay, 2 types, 2 category. We have pre-test and post-test loop. Okay, pre-test maknanya kita test before doing, and then post-test after. Okay, post is after. So for pre-test loop, we have two form, dua jenis lah, 2 jenis tadi. Yang kategori, yang the main kategori bawah tu ada lagi types dia. Okay, for pre-test we have while and for. Okay, for post-test kita ada do while and do until. So pre-test ni we are going to consider before doing. Okay, we are going to perform the test before doing the instruction. But for post-test, we are going to perform the instruction first, and then after that we evaluate or we test the condition after that. Okay, so for post-test we have do while and then do until. So we have 4 in our syllabus here. Okay, next, let's look at pre-test loop. Okay, in each iteration, the loop control variable LCV is tested first. Okay, so if it is true, the loop action is executed. If it is false, the loop is terminated. Okay, so types of pre-test loop, we have while and also for. So macam saya kata tadi, pre-test ni kita check dulu condition dia. Kalau true, barulah kita masuk ke dalam loop. If not, kita akan skip the loop ataupun terminate lah. Okay, so as you can see the flow chart, we have control variable. We are going to check the condition for the control variable, whether it is true or false. If it is true, then we are going to perform some action in the body of the loop. Okay, if not, if the condition is false, maksudnya we are going to skip the loop or the loop is terminated. Okay, so loop control variable means condition initialize of beginning of the pre-test loop. Okay, so loop control variable ni LCV is usually given initial value. Biasanya loop control variable ni akan diberi nilai awal. Okay, dan selepas itu barulah kita ada loop control variable punya condition. Okay, loop control variable is tested based on the condition. Kita akan test based on condition tu to determine number of times instruction within loop body are processed. Jadi condition itulah yang akan menentukan berapa kali kita akan repeat ataupun masuk ke dalam loop tu. Okay. Okay, for the post-test loop, okay, this is the main difference between the flow chart of a pre-test loop and then post-test loop. As you can see, for post-test, you will find action first before the diamond shape. You akan nampak rectangle dulu baru diamond. So, in each iteration, the loop action is executed first. Maksudnya, kita akan pergi kepada action tu dulu. Dia akan buat dulu sekali action tu. And then, for the next, the loop control expression is test. Kemudian, barulah dia akan test control variable. Tadi, loop control variable tu. Okay. If it is true, then a new iteration is started. Maksudnya, kalau condition tu true, dia akan masuk semula ke dalam naik semula ke action tadi, buat action tadi. Kalau false, dia akan terminate. So untuk bukan pre-test ni, post-test ni typo ni. Okay, sorry, post-test. Okay, yang ni post-test. Okay, post-test, do, while and do, until. Okay, action or instruction are processed at least once. Okay, untuk post-test loop ni, dia akan execute juga sekali action tu. Dia mesti akan execute sekali. Okay, tapi kalau pre-test tidak semestinya action tu akan will be executed. Okay, sebab dia bergantung pada loop control variable condition tadi. Kalau memang dari awal dah false, dia tidak akan execute langsung action tu. Tu kalau pre-test. Tapi kalau post-test, action tu akan dibuat sekali dan it depends on the control variable tu. Kalau condition tu true, barulah dia akan buat the next. Kalau tak, dia akan skip je. Okay. So these are 3 requirements of a repetition structure. So when you are going to do programming or coding later, okay, you have to consider these 3 for repetition control structure. Okay, you must have initialization, condition and updating. Okay. Okay, so first let's look at LCV, in details about LCV, loop control variable. This is the most important thing or the most important element in when you are applying repetition control structure. So you can use a loop to execute a body of statement continuously as long as some condition continues to be true. So macam saya sebut tadi, repetition ni akan berlangsung selagi mana condition yang dinyatakan tu true. Okay. To ensure the loop runs correctly, the number of repetition or iteration should end correctly. So when you apply a repetition control structure, you have to ensure that your looping, your repetition process will end correctly. Sometimes kalau if you are not careful enough, okay, you will end up with infinite loop. Okay, infinite loop ni maksudnya looping yang tidak berhenti. Okay. So you can declare a loop control variable to manage the number of repetitions as loop perform. So bila you nak apply repetition, dia mesti ada satu variable yang menandakan, maksudnya yang menjadi pembilang lah, yang mengawal berapa kali proses tu hendak diulang. Okay, so 3 separate actions should occur using a loop control variable. A variable ataupun the loop control variable is initialized. So before kita masuk ke dalam repetition loop tu, kita kena initialize, give initial value to the loop control variable. Tak kira lah you can declare I ke X ke J ke ataupun counter ke count ke, tak kisah, sebarang nama. Okay, bagi nilai sama ada 0 ataupun 1 ke. And also you can start at any number. Tak kisah sebenarnya nak start dengan nombor 3 ke. Tapi yang pentingnya mestilah ada second one. Okay, we look at the second point there. The loop control variable is tested. Yang pentingnya second element when you have initialized, kita dah bagi nilai awal dekat loop control variable tu, I ke X ke sama dengan 0, sama dengan 1, sama dengan 3 ke. Okay, second one, make sure the loop control variable is tested. And if the result is true, the loop body is entered. Okay, maknanya you kena buat katalah you initialize I equal to 0 and then I less than 10. Okay. So, the body of a loop might contain any number of statements including module calls, selection, control, structures and other loop. Okay, kalau you buat I equal to 0, kemudian loop control variable is tested by using expression. You pun buat dalam tu I less than 10. Maknanya selagi mana nilai I tu tidak ataupun tidak sama dan tidak lebih, maksudnya kurang daripada 10, you akan buat certain instruction. You akan repeat certain instruction. Okay. Kemudian dalam body loop tu, dalam loop walaupun ini adalah repetition control structure, dalam body loop tu boleh ada macam-macam lah. Boleh ada function. Yang ni biasanya kita akan belajar selepas repetition lah. Module calls, function ataupun selection. Dalam repetition pun boleh kita include selection control structure. Boleh ada if else juga dan sebagainya lah. Okay, so kalau you buat I equal to 0, I less than 10, bermakna proses you tu akan repeat sebanyak 9 kali lah. Maknanya selagi I tu kurang daripada 10, dia akan buat sesuatu proses repeatingly. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Okay. So, the body of the loop must take some action that alters the value of the loop control variable so that okay, kalau guna Y, Y lah. Kalau guna for, eventually evaluate as false. Okay, jadi, condition tu, tadi kita dah contoh lah, kita declare I equal to 0, I less than 10. Maknanya kita nak benda tu akan keep doing the same instruction sampai 10 kali. 0 sampai 9, 10 kali lah kan. Okay. So, kita mesti ada sesuatu statement yang update nilai I tu. Kalau tak, dia tak berhenti sampai bila-bila lah. Kalau you tak ada nilai untuk di-update tu. Contoh, I akan kekal sebagai kosong dan selama-lamanya dia akan masuk ke dalam loop tu. Okay. Jadi, you mesti ada satu elemen yang memberhentikan your loop tadi. Okay, so if let's say you put I++, okay, I itu akan, the value of I will keep increasing. Okay, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. When the value of I equals to 10, dia akan berhenti. Okay, maknanya your loop won't be infinite loop lah. Takkan jadi infinite loop sebab satu masa I itu dia akan keep increasing, updating one by one sampai 10 dia akan stop lah. Okay, jadi 3 elemen yang perlu ada bila you buat repetition, mesti ada initial value, mesti ada condition dia, dan mesti ada update statement. Okay, update statement ni penting untuk kita limitkan berapa kali instruction tu to be repeated. Okay. Okay. before a loop can start, some preparation is usually required. Some preparation is called loop initialization. This is what I have mentioned just now. Initialization must be done before the first execution of the body. Jadi sebelum apa-apa pun yang kita buat mengenai repetition ni, kita kena initialize dulu. Tak kira lah I equal to 0 ke, I equal to berapa ke, J ke, any variable. So, loop update, how can the condition that controls the loop to be true? Jadi kena true lah untuk masuk ke dalam loop tu for a while and then change to false. Dan loop update tu kena ada condition dan satu masa dia akan jadi false. Biar dia masuk dulu sekali dan ada condition yang menentukan berapa kali you nak repeat, and then after that, after certain time, you have to put something to limit the repetition tu. Maknanya condition tu akan jadi false. Okay, first dia kena true untuk dia masuk buat repetition tu, dan kemudian later dia kena jadi false. Kalau tak, dia akan jadi infinite loop. So the answer is that something must happen inside the body of the loop to change the condition. Jadi mesti ada formula ataupun calculation lah untuk menukar loop control variable tadi, dan satu masa akan menjadikan dia false. Okay, supaya loop tu boleh berhenti. Kalau tak, as I said, we would have an infinite loop. So this change the resulting condition from true to false. Okay, known as loop update. Updating is done in each iteration. Jadi, you mesti ada satu statement yang, macam saya bagi contoh, kalau I equal to 0, dia punya condition expression dia I less than 10, dan dalam body loop tu mesti ada I plus plus plus, supaya, okay, first sekali bila you declare, you initialize I equal to 0, I tu boleh masuk bila kita test condition I less than 10, okay, true. But later we want to stop the repetition process, jadi kita kena buat sesuatu supaya I less than 10 tu jadi false. Jadi kita kena increase the value of I inside the body of the loop. Okay, if the body of the loop is repeated m times, then the updating is also done m times. Okay. So these are the difference. Just now I have shown you the pre-test and post-test, the difference between their flowchart, right? So for pre-test, you can see that, okay, for both of these flowchart, you can see that they need initialization. Initialization is put at the very beginning of the both flowchart. Okay, mesti ada initialization. And then for pre-test, we will have diamond. Okay, diamond. Kemudian, inside the diamond, we are going to have expression. Okay, loop control variable condition. Okay, condition. If it is true, it will go and do some action. And then inside the loop, ni adalah body of the loop lah. Action dengan updating ni dalam body of the loop. Okay, keep updating. And then after that, go back to the diamond. Lepas dah update nilai, contoh I equal to 0, you initialize. Dalam ni, I less than 10. Kemudian you buat satu action apa-apa, nak print hello ke. Contoh nak print hello 10 kali kan. Okay, kemudian bila dah print sekali, of course lah kita akan increase nilai I. Maknanya kita dah print dah sekali. Jadi, update nilai I, balik semula ke diamond tadi. Okay, check balik condition, I less than 10. Okay, masih lagi true. Maknanya tak cukup lagi 10 kali kita nak print hello. Okay, print another hello, kemudian update lagi. Okay, that is pre-test. For post-test, okay, we have initialization also, and then we have action first, and then updating, and then barulah check for the condition. If the condition is true, go back to action and updating, and then check again. Ni beza antara pre-test and post-test. Okay, now we are going to look at while loop. Okay, ni adalah satu format di bawah pre-test. Okay, while loop. So, the general form of a while statement, when you are going to write pseudocode, you can write while and then bracket contain of expression and condition, and then after that statement or loop body. Okay, if it is just one statement, no need for curly bracket. If So I'm talking about coding. Okay, kalau coding, bila dia lebih daripada satu statement, you have to put in curly braces lah. Okay, loop body, kita panggil dia loop body ataupun block of statements. So the expression acts as decision maker. So we can say expression tu sebenarnya berfungsi sebagai pembuat keputusan lah, and is usually a logical expression, less than apa-apa ke, greater than ke. It provides an entry condition. Jadi while expression condition tu dia akan menentukan masuk ataupun tidak, sama ada kita nak buat repetition ataupun tidak. It provides an entry condition, syarat kemasukan lah. So if it is initially true, then the statement execute. Bila statement ataupun expression tu true, only then statement will be executed. If not, so the loop condition, the expression is then re-evaluated. Bila dah buat statement tu, ada update statement, tengok balik adakah masih true. Kalau true, re-evaluated, executed. Kemudian the statement continues to execute until the expression is no longer true ataupun dah jadi false. Bila dah false, dia akan jadi exit condition. Okay, we have to include exit condition that eventually evaluate expression to be false. So sebab tu tadi kita kena ada update statement macam I++. Jadi later I tu akan sampai kepada 10 dan condition I less than 10 tadi yang saya bagi contoh tadi tak akan true lagi lah, dan kita akan keluar daripada loop tu. Okay, the loop will continues to execute endlessly. Kita panggil infinite loop. Kalau loop tu tak berhenti, so kita panggil dia infinite loop. Okay. Okay. While loop execute from 0 to many times, okay, depends on the expression. So while ni adalah reserved word. Okay, syntax dia, while expression statement. Okay, expression provides entry condition. Expression parenthesis must be included as part of the syntax. Dia mesti ada while, kemudian ada buka bracket, expression apa-apa x less than 10 ke, kan. Must evaluate to true to invoke loop statement. Jadi untuk pertama kali masuk dalam looping tu, mestilah condition tu true. Kemudian statement can be simple or compound block. Kalau satu statement sahaja di bawah while tu, you nak buat satu statement sahaja, you tak perlu curly bracket lah, tak perlu letak dia dalam compound statement. Okay. Statement is or are the body of the loop. Be sure to include exit condition. Jadi mesti ada condition yang akhirnya, mesti ada update statement yang akhirnya menyebabkan exit condition. Condition tu jadi false. Okay, statement execute if expression evaluates to true, loop condition is re-evaluated. So selagi mana true, naik balik, check balik condition tu. Bila false, keluar daripada loop tu. Okay, so kita tengok seterusnya. These are the pseudocode for while. Okay, kita akan start, kemudian end. Tu macam biasa. As usual, we will start with start and then ended with end. And then inside, if let's say you are going to apply repetition control structure, you are going to write the pseudocode while, okay, condition, kemudian then. Okay, then what are the instructions to be executed? You write after that, you indent and then write after while, and then after you finish the writing the instruction for while, you put end while. Okay, and then this is the flowchart. Okay, flowchart let's say you have other part of coding A and B. Okay, while condition true. Okay, true, you are going to execute the instruction and then go back, checking the condition. If it is true again, go back, do the same process. These two instructions will be executed again, and then keep repeating until the condition is false. When the condition is false, we are going to skip this part, the while body, and then go to B segment. Okay, next. So controlling while loop repetition. When you write a loop, you must control the number of repetition. If you don't, okay, you run the risk of creating infinite loop. So as I said, make sure you must have the exit condition. Okay, two ways to control the loop repetition. Okay, actually for while we have two types of we can apply it using two ways, two approaches. Okay, counter and sentinel value. Okay, what are the main difference between counter and sentinel control? Okay, controlling while loop repetition, for counter control, we create definite counter control loop. Okay, what does it mean by counter control loop? Yang ni, the number of repetition is identified. Let's say repeat a process for 10 times. Let's say I want to get the total of a mark for 100 students. So I know already that number of student or number of marks to be entered is 100. Maksudnya kita tahu dari awal berapa jumlah yang kita nak, berapa kali kita nak repeat instruction to get 100 mark, and then do the total process ke, summation process ke 100 kali. Okay, but another one, for sentinel control is to create, sebelah kanan tu on your right is sentinel control, to create an indefinite loop. Indefinite loop means you do not know, you don't have any idea about how many times your process will be repeated. Contohnya saya nak minta number daripada user, nombor positif tadi. Okay, how many numbers will be entered by the user? We do not know. Okay, maybe different users will enter different number of positive numbers, right? So number of repetition depends on certain condition, and the number of repetition is not known. Jadi bila you tak tahu berapa kali nak ulang ke, you akan apply sentinel control. For example, repeat a process as long as user input command is not 999. Maksudnya kita dah bagi arahan. Maybe you put a certain command to the user whether you want to continue or not. If selagi mana user, as long as the user give input yes to he or she wants to continue, the process will continue, and it will stop when the user enter no or end. Okay, for example, given in this slide, if the user input 999, maksudnya the program is terminated then. Therefore, the sentinel value is 999. So, sentinel is actually the value used to stop the repetition process. Tu kita panggil sentinel. Okay, so mudah je perbezaan dia. The main difference, sentinel is not known how many times you are going to repeat, and you need sentinel value from the user to signal the exit of the looping. But for counter control, you already know how many times you are going to repeat the process. Okay. Okay, this is syntax of counter control while statement. Okay, in terms of coding, okay, first we initialize in count equal to 0, and then while counter less than n. Okay, test loop control variable, and then counter plus plus. Okay, so counter plus plus is update loop control statement. Okay, counter less than n is test loop control variable, and counter equal to 0 is initialize loop control variable. Okay, this is for counter control, and then for sentinel control, we are going to prompt user input. Okay, cin variable, initialize loop control variable. Okay, while variable not equal to sentinel, okay, test loop control variable. Maksudnya katalah kita minta daripada user, do you want to continue? If the user put y, yes, maksudnya sentinel you have to declare, you have to set previously what will be your sentinel value. If let's say n, no, katalah you nak buat satu program, bila user masukkan n, you nak stop. Jadi while variable not equal to n, maknanya user nak repeat lagi. Katalah bila user masukkan cin variable, yes, okay, variable not equal to n, okay, continue. Selagi mana user nak continue, selagi tu kita akan continue. Selagi mana nilainya tidak sama dengan sentinel yang kita set pada awalnya. Okay. Okay. So, for exercise today, you have to determine which of the following is sentinel and which of the following is counter control repetition. Okay.